if you'd like to. It'd be no problem at all. So that's what we'll be doing when we get ready to start. Welcome to everybody here. Glad you are here for class number 3. And let's see, do we have a PowerPoint? Welcome, yes, class number 3. We've had 2 previous classes over the last 2 semesters. We've had 26 couples in the first one, 27 couples in the second one. And it's kind of looking like we're going to be around in that same area again this semester. And by the way, we have lots of people that have joined up with us as facilitators. So we have more capacity. So if you know people who are interested in being a part of Reengage, any of your friends that were kind of, well, then go all the time and bring them with you next week. Would be fine. So we do have some more room, and we've moved to a larger room in here. Last time we were in a smaller one, so we have room to grow. So if there's any other folks that you all know of, feel free to invite folks. We want people to be here no later than the 3rd session, though. They missed out on too much, which, by the way, we're also taping the what we're going through tonight. There's I know 2 couples that can't be here tonight. And so we'll make that available because we just cover a lot of information for you. So as we get ready to get started, John Shannon, where's John Shannon? Would you pray for us, friend?
It's an honor to be your friend. Amen. Father, we love you so much tonight. We just thank you, Lord, for gathering us together in your holy name, Lord. We sure appreciate the fact that you led and guided each man and woman here tonight, Lord God. You have put us together to learn more about your holy institution of marriage, Lord. We really look forward to seeing our marriages grow and become more enlightened and more representing the kingdom on the earth. We just thank you for this time tonight. We ask you to lead it and guide it. In Jesus' name.
Let's see, I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Ron Van Camp, and most of you have probably got emails from me. If you have not received emails from me, that means I goofed up your email, or perhaps you didn't put it in on the form. So anyway, let us know if you've not been receiving any of that of those emails. All right, so let's go to our next slide. So this is why Fellowship Bible Church, one of the reasons why we are hosting the Reengage Marriage Enrichment classes. And that is, we believe that healthy marriages create a healthy church, and healthy churches create a healthy community. And for those of you that may not be going to this church, which, by the way, approximately half of the couples that are going to Reengage this semester are not members of Fellowship Bible Church. And so you may be driving by and see our big letters that we have out there where we have different events where we're trying to reach out to the community. We believe the community is very, very important. And so we want to really promote good marriages. And as people are involved, and when people have healthy marriages, that also means that they're going to be more involved in the work that God is doing around them and in their churches, where we can be laborers for Christ. Because, of course, our goal is to help people come to know Christ and for us to grow in our knowledge and our becoming more like Christ. Okay, so to give you a little bit of an idea of what you may be seeing this semester, let's look at some of these comments. So, first one there. Now, by the way, these are comments that people have said at the end of the semester. They put down, here are things, and which we have their permission to share this, okay, of things that they got out of, kind of things that stood out to them. They said we talked about many subjects we normally wouldn't bring up, so that they and their spouse. And I've heard that from a lot of people. Oh, there's just all kinds of things that we have talked about and jumped into that we would never have done before. And I can tell you for my wife and I, there's things that we talk about. In fact, it's interesting. we kind of laugh about it. Then we said, we haven't had nearly as much conflict since we started going to Reengage. Because that means we talk about more things that we've just avoided. We both like to avoid things like that. So it's been real good for us to work through some things. So I hope you'll have that experience too. We learned better communication, tools of biblical support and camaraderie for areas where we are struggling. Provided guidance for continuous improvement. Small groups were great, and you'll love your small group, I guarantee you. All right, we learned to give grace in my marriage. That's a good one. God has been good to bring Reengage to us when we've been struggling with communication. It has been difficult, but we now have tools to speak kindly and listen. And this is my favorite, the next one. God has a Holy Spirit, and that is not me. We're more aware I'm more aware of my inconsistencies and hang-ups, changed my perspective about marriage, learned to be less critical, helped me be a better, more open, gracious partner, opened my eyes to what I was not contributing. So that just gives you a little smattering of the kinds of things that we're going to be dealing with over the next 16 weeks. And it's interesting also, participants at the very end, when they rated their marriages of what they were like when they started 16 weeks, but when we finished, on average, they all increased by 2 points. Not 2 points across the board. Some stayed the same. We haven't seen any where they went down. Okay? They stayed the same, or they've gone up quite a bit. And that could be they went from a 1 to a 3 or a 4, or they went from an 8 to a 9. But it's just all across the board. And it's amazing how this ministry, the stuff that we go through and in the groups, we've had couples where the wheels were falling off of the marriage. In fact, where there was plans to go right into divorce proceedings. And they came here and things turned around and it's the marriage is moving in a healthy direction now. We're seeing that. We're also seeing people that, really, things are going pretty good, but it's just helping with their communication, help with a few things. And so it's really been good for them. Okay, so what's the origin of Reengage? Well, it was launched in 2008 at the Dallas Watermark Community Church. I don't know if you all are familiar with that large church in the Dallas area. Since then, it's expanded all over the world, and there's over 1,000 churches that are using the Reengage program now. And you can go to reengage.org and just see more information about this program and things that are going on with it. It's pretty incredible how God is using it. And as we get towards the end of our 16 weeks, we'll be talking some about how God is using Reengage around the world and kind of some direction that things are going. Okay. There. I should just turn around and look. Because Patty has it all squared away. So, by the way, I was going to ask. Now, let's see. Now, you guys married for how long? 1 month. Is this your premarital counseling? Okay. Just wondering. Okay. All right. So here is our official goals for that our church has for Reengage. Is we want to learn to be better spouses, to better engage with our spouses. Hence the word re-engage. We want to learn what biblical marriage is all about and how to make it work. And then one of my most favorite quotes about marriage is glorious but hard. Let us help you have a glorious marriage. Anyone who tells you that marriage is easy may not be telling you the truth. Come on. Yes. And another objective we're going to have here is we are going to have fun. And so each week we're going to be talking about fun stuff. Let me look at what I've got here. Okay. We're going to be doing some fun stuff, crazy videos. Because, when we're talking, You're gonna have fun in the small groups, but a lot of times it's some pretty heavy stuff that we'll be talking about and engaging with. And so we want to have some fun. So right now, so Patty, let's watch one of our favorite little videos. And you'll have to close out PowerPoint because it'll rob the screen.
Das hier ist ein Mindset-Wort. Das hier ist das Wichtigste, das Wissen.
Yeah, you have to totally close out PowerPoint. PowerPoint does not play well in the sandbox. Like right here, it's trying to stay alive. Okay, so yeah, let's start that back over at the very beginning. There we go.
Das hier ist ein Mindset-Wort. Das hier ist das Wichtigste, das Wissen. Das Überlebenslernen.
Meditate. Hello, can you hear us? We are sick.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard. What are you thinking about?
Okay, so we're gonna be scouring around, finding really funny videos that we can have a few laughs in here. We think that's really important to just enjoy things. And when we get to the very end, when we do our completion, but after our completion, we'll have a big celebration, and that will be a lot of fun as we share, what God has been doing, but as well as just doing some really fun things, and you'll enjoy that. It's a good time. So right now, we're going to listen to some testimonies, some real short little clips from people, and this is from Watermark, people who have gone through Reengage, and they're going to talk about. So if we can go back to the videos, the Reengage video. I'm sorry. Nah, let's do that second. So I want you to listen to what the people are saying.
And then through a major
What stands out to you, and we'll talk about it.
And I was ready.
Oh, we got it. Yeah. PowerPoint is trying to steal the screen again.
We came to Reengage because we had become roommates. We were just
Yeah, you'll have to totally close it out. Go.
two ships passing by. We came to Reengage because we had become roommates. We were just two ships passing by. Our marriage had been through a major crisis.
I had an affair, and I was ready to leave my family for
We heard great things about the curriculum, and we were looking forward to learning some new things to help improve our marriage.
There was a lot of brokenness. In fact, there was an infidelity and pornography addiction that she wasn't aware of.
We were headed for divorce.
We heard it was a safe place to reconnect with your spouse, and we needed to be reconnected. We really just wanted to take things up a notch.
We came to Reengage both as non-believers as a result of infidelity and more of my sexual past that had come to light.
We were in a downward spiral.
We were just constantly fighting.
And we were just at a point of no return. And at the ask of a friend, we showed up to check out this ministry called Reengage.
The first time we walked into Reengage, I actually felt hope.
I was just very nervous to see what was going to be revealed through this program and what God was going to show us.
I honestly felt confused. I had no idea why I needed to be there.
I was feeling the issue was with Susan and not with me at the time.
I felt finally this is a place where I do not have to pretend or perform that our marriage is perfect and easy.
This was not a
typical sit and get type of class. This class would require sharing and transparency, which was not something that I was used to.
I really didn't want to tell people about what was going on in our marriage.
I was very fearful. Being an atheist, I had never willingly walked into a church.
And I was so grateful as we walked in, and there were people there to greet us that were so kind.
The first time I walked into Reengage, I felt hope and peace.
It was the first time I had ever heard people talk about really hard things they had been through, and also hear that it could be okay.
I knew that was right where we needed to be, no matter what the outcome was.
One of the biggest things I realized was that I was the biggest problem.
No feelings, not only from my wife, but also from myself.
We did an amazing job sweeping conflict over, which over the years resulted in resentment and mistrust.
We've been married, Tina and I have been married for 19 years, and there are still areas that we can improve on.
One of the biggest things I realized going through Reengage was how God's word came alive, not only in Susan and I's life, but also the couples that were around us.
God actually had designed marriage and has a specific plan. And that whenever we learn that and keep that, gives him honor.
One of the things I liked about Reengage was we were encouraged to be transparent. We were always asked, do you have 1 more percent you need to share with your spouse? And I had 1% I needed to share with my spouse. I was not.
Despite feeling weak in the beginning, our engaged couples poured love into us, accepted us without any expectation.
And there was a true desire to understand and not necessarily judge what I was doing.
One of the things I like about Reengage was being able to share our story, talk about it freely in a safe environment.
Now our marriage is characterized as one full of love and grace by God. We have been able to just be more open and have that communication with each other. And it was just great being able to see the difference of event and ways. Our marriage is characterized by putting Christ in the center and looking to God's word for instruction.
Daily prayers, a lot of laughter, date nights, and a lot of fun.
It's not perfect, but our disagreements are now opportunities, and our darkest days are when we see Christ the most.
If you're considering coming to Reengage, the one thing I want you to know is that you will be surprised at the relationships that you'll build there.
Worth giving God an opportunity to come into your marriage and to restore it to what it's meant to be.
He loves you and he can restore your marriage and he can restore you.
You're loved. We care about you. The Lord cares about you and wants the best for your marriage.
So whether you walked in with divorce papers in hand, or you're doing good and you want to get to great, Reengage is a safe place to reconnect, reignite, and resurrect your marriage.
You've taken a great first step in strengthening your marriage. Welcome to Reengage. We're so glad you're here.
Okay, what'd you hear? Oh, wow, that is a huge one. You know, in our culture these days, you don't hear much about hope. You listen to the news, I mean, you watch it, and it's depressing. All the things that you see, and there's just no hope that people communicate. But in God's word and what he has to share with us about marriage and how we'll get into the details of the ticky-tacky and work through it, yeah, there's hope. And by the way, here at this church, we put a big emphasis on counseling, on doing biblical counseling as well as marriage enrichment, and on recovery groups and that type of thing. And I can tell you, we've seen God do miracle after miracle after miracle in the lives of people. So yeah, hope. That's a biggie. What else? What else did y'all hear? I'm sorry? Forgiveness? Yes. Yeah. We're going to spend some time on what does that mean practically. Forgiveness. You betcha. What else? Frustration? Oh, frustration. Restoration. Yes. Our God restores. And that's just incredible. So yeah, we'll see some of that here. What else? Not alone. That's right. You've got a bunch of people in here are all in the trenches struggling and working through things in marriage. And so you're going to make some new friends, and you have some people who are going to be on your team cheering for you. Yeah. Okay. It's what? Communication. Well, that's mentioned a lot in here, and I think you do a great job with communication. Bet. Okay. Well, and Patty, I'm sorry, I probably was doing things out of turn. So if we can go to the slide with the leaders on it. Okay, so these are the folks who are the facilitators, and sometimes I refer to them as leaders or facilitators. What we're doing is we're facilitating the conversations in the groups. Okay, and these people have all had a lot of training and a lot of work in marriage and how to be helpers in marriage. So you've got some great people that will be meeting with you in your small groups. So Steve and Rhonda Blazer, y'all, yes, raise up your hand real high. Okay, Steve and Rhonda Blazer, okay, the old guy. Okay. Jerry and Patty Ledford, okay, they're doing about their AV stuff. Brad and Della Dewey, right over here. Christoph and Lauren Orr are youngsters. John and Mary Shannon. Okay. Robert and Tammy Johnson, they're in the back. Nathan and Jen Carlson, over here. Ron and Sharon Van Camp, so Sharon back there. Coy and Kelly Hayes, right here. Aaron and Tracy Feeker, back over here. Paul and Callie Erickson, back in this corner. Chuck and Luann Fowler. Okay, I just want to make a comment here. That's a lot of people who are committed to helping with marriages. That's a neat deal. God is using these people in a huge way. And so I'm just excited to see how God keeps working in this ministry. And I think it's when you see people who are wanting to be involved and be involved in leadership with things, you know that it's a healthy ministry. There's healthy things that are going on. Okay, so right now, Brad Dewey, got that next? Brad Dewey is going to come and share with us just a bit of a testimony. Okay, just you or is Adela coming too?
She's gonna come.
In a moment. Okay.
Hello, I'm Brad Dewey. Ron mentioned that there's a counseling ministry here, and we really have a strong team, fun team, capable team, but we lost one of our guys over the summer. Neil Beasley and his wife Doris. But we lost Neil this summer. Neil was what, 88 or
9.
89. Neil was such a good guy. He was so humble and just likable. But so with that said, I'm kind of trying to channel Neil right now because I'm 70 and got a lot of experience in marriage. So come on and join me. So you got your books. These are brand new books. So last year we had a lot of the same topics, a little bit different this year, but one thing we did at the end of last year is we looked back over all of our sessions, and then we were kind of going to pick out a key takeaway from one session last year. And so this is pretty much unscripted. So I might get in trouble later, but one of those lessons was on communication. And so we had a favorite little saying in our small group, because there's some negative communication patterns that you can use an abbreviation for, and we call it being a weenie. So being a weenie meant either withdrawing or escalating or negatively interpreting or invalidating. And so now, 3 weeks ago, here's what I put on my sheet last year, communication, avoid being a weenie. Seek to understand. And so 3 weeks ago, we were under a little bit of pressure and got sorted into a conflict, and I became a weenie. I mean, look, the first thing I did was to negatively interpret it, trying to get me to understand, and then I invalidated her point of view, and then I escalated, then I walked out the front door. I felt a ball for you. If you're a baseball fan, that's called hit for the cycle. I got a single, a double, a triple, and a home. So she let me back in the house, but okay. Okay. But really, what I didn't do was there's a great scripture in James. Quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. You probably heard it before. So I did that. I'm not perfect, but I would say that maybe we are an 8 on a marriage, 1 to 10 marriage scale. That's good too. What would you say? What would you have said 3 weeks ago to know?
I would have still been praying that I could forgive.
Covered all the bases of
I
the
did.
lesson. Prayed for me.
I remembered our lessons and I was like, okay, rubber meets the road. What am I supposed to be doing? Yeah. Oh, you can't hear me? I just remember, okay, remember all the good things about it. It's not always been this way, right? So I'm thinking of that. I'm praying and saying, God help me to be forgiving and gracious and all those things. But it was a couple of days before we were back to normal. I don't know if you guys have ever had an argument like that. But, but it was really good to have the tools. And I even told Ron, he was like, what do they call those? Pop quizzes? It was a pop quiz. No, it was an opportunity.
Okay, so we talked about it again today, a little bit this afternoon. And it was a good conversation, but coming away, we just have a difference of opinion, and that's okay. I don't have to persuade her one way or another. She doesn't have to convince me that I failed. But anyway, because Neil B's so humble, and he had been married, I don't know how many years.
67.
67, he would always say, never too old to improve. And I say that you're never too young either. So there you go. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Bradley. Appreciate it. Now, most of the leaders that you have this semester have gone through Reengage multiple times. So my wife and I, this is number 4 for us. Okay, so we're hoping that sometime it'll really take well. But this is number 4. We've got a bunch of the leaders that have been through 4 times, some more than 4. And so we've been through this and have been learning a lot. And that's another reason why a lot of us are involved in marriage ministry, is because it helps keep us reminding us of what we need to be doing. And boy, I need that all the time, or I forget and do stupid things. So our leaders, I'd ask them to maybe share just a bit of maybe a sentence of how can you, going through this for the first time to Reengage, just some thoughts on how you can get the most out of Reengage. So leaders, who would like to share something? Oh, Mary.
Start your homework right away. They'll give God a chance to bring things to you.
That's good, and we're gonna be reminding everybody that again later.
The homework is not long well, I haven't had a chance to go through it, but the homework is not very long. So I would say go through it, be intentional about going through it, pray.
Lost the microphone.
Yeah, we lost one. Go through it, do the work. Pray about it with your spouse. Just be very intentional as you go through it. And you get out of the courses what you put into it. So even though the work is not that long, if you will take the 15 minutes to 30 minutes with your spouse each week, it goes a long way.
Now, Paul, didn't you say at one point that it's good to talk with your spouse before coming into class so that things don't come up that really embarrass you?
Especially if there's some confession that occurs, you don't want the first time that's heard to be in front of others. You want to confess to your spouse and to God first.
All right, Miss Lauren? Didn't you say? Oh, you forgot?
Yeah.
Okay, you think about it again.
Yes.
Okay, any other leaders have something? Okay, Blazers?
The video showed wanting to enhance marriage. It showed almost at the divorce stage. You're going to hear people being very transparent, and don't be afraid to share in your small group. We've been married almost 49 years, and we've been broken, we've been healed, we've been broken again. There's no temptation taking you except that which is common to man, but God is faithful, and we're called to encourage one another, to bear each other's burdens, and by sharing in your small group, you'll find people that want to put their arms around you and encourage and bear those burdens with you. And all of a sudden you go, wow, we don't need to go to counseling. We're getting that from this couple we've never met before because they've been down a similar road as we have. But you've got to do the homework and communicate to get all the blessings that are in store for you. Sorry, that was a long sentence.
Okay, anyone? We have something back here? Okay. Lauren, did you remember what you wanted to say?
Yes, smells like freezer. I was just saying that through this course, there's gonna be a lot of things revealed between you and your partner. Just remember that this is someone that the Lord has for you, and you guys are in each other's lives for a purpose and to grow closer to Christ. So through that, just don't judge your spouse. Be there for them. Listen to them, because there might be some ugly things, or there might be some things that they've been hiding for years. There's a lot of things revealed. These are things that are going to bring you guys closer to Christ and closer together. And there's going to be such a weight lifted when you guys are able to grow closer. So just keep that in mind and reserve any judgment you might have.
Also, just as an encouragement, what Tanya and I found is as we go through the study multiple times now, the study helps you focus on talking about things that you're not naturally going to talk with your spouse about. So it can really be a driver in that area. And it's important. It helps you work through a lot of things. And like everyone else is saying, the work is so important. I was in a spin class last week and our instructor was working to really motivate us. She said, don't complain about the results you didn't get for the work you didn't do.
All right. Okay. Well, very good. Well, we'll keep marching on here. We have some other information we need to go through. So here's what we're going to be doing. Beginning next week, the facilitators, all of the people that I introduced, we all get together at 5:30 and we spend time praying. We spend time going over the lesson for the evening and just kind of talking through how we want to make things go smoothly and, uh, uh, and just encourage each other. So we do that until 6:15. Then at 6:15, then we'll come in and say hey to everybody. We'll be in the large group, just like we are right here, each time we meet for 30 minutes. We're going to be going to, there's going to be testimonies that are shared. We're going to be watching some videos that'll have some teaching. And of course, we'll have some funny stuff that'll get you laughing. And so we'll do that from 6:30 to 7. And then we will break out into our groups from 7 to 8. Now, this week, I'll be getting with the facilitators. We're going to meet, get together, and assign everyone to a small group. And so when you come next week, you will we'll have those assignments ready and and show you and take you to the room that we'll be in and all of that. So make sure that you complete lesson 1 for next week. Okay? And again, as has been shared, the actual lesson of reading it doesn't take long. Gosh, probably 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes at most to read through the stuff. Questions will take a little while, not real long. But then you get to talk through it with your spouse. Okay? And so that'll take a little bit of time. So don't cut yourself short on the time of putting it off and putting it off. Get started on it early. But do get that completed for next week. You'll be doing chapter 1. Okay. The schedule. Now, everyone should have gotten the book and the schedule. And the only thing I really want to note here, anything that's of importance, you can see all the classes we go through. On October the 18th is fall break. There will be no class that night. Now, you may be doing some things with your group outside of our regular class stuff here. Okay, so that's a good evening to do some special stuff. But y'all will talk about that in your small group. And then on Thanksgiving, November 22nd, no class. And then we'll be wrapping up on December the 13th. Okay, and so that's a big part of it that we will have right here. All right, now expectations. So, as we've been kind of talking about, so complete the lesson and bring your book with you. Okay? Yes. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Each individual, that's right. Everybody has a book, so each individual completes it, talks about it at home, and then each individual brings their books with them. Yeah. Thank you, John. All right, discuss the lesson with your spouse. Number 3, be here on time. Okay? Because we need to get started. We're putting a lot into an hour and a half. Okay? And so we're going to start at 6:32. You're going to hear the bump music start. And so we will get started at 6:32. I want to encourage you, share in your group as much as you feel comfortable. I know there are people here who the thought of sharing in a group with others just terrifies you. I understand. But please, I want to encourage you at least once during each evening that you share something out of what God is doing in your heart, out of what you're learning from. And I think it'll be a little more difficult at first, but as you get a few weeks into it, you'll start getting to know the other people in your group, and it'll be a lot easier to share then. Other people it's easy for them to share. And for those folks, then you may want to be careful that you don't share too much so that the quieter people don't have a chance. Okay? What is said in your small group stays in your small group. Okay? So nobody's going to be talking about what's happening in your small group. That's for you guys to share and to talk with each other about. Now, of course, there's limits to that. If you start sharing about how you're planning on murdering your spouse, we will call the police. But otherwise, yeah, everything stays confidential within your group. Let's see, a couple of things. Meals. I'm sorry? Can I do that? Oh, you got something there, yes?
Scan that and see if it goes.
Sign up once.
Okay, Brad has something for us on this.
Okay, so, some of you guys are coming straight from work, you've already done your homework. But if you're hungry, we provide meals, but it costs you $3 a meal. If you have a big family, maximum $15. So get busy having kids. For a discount, it won't. Okay, but do you have to sign up one time for all, or do you have to sign up every? One time for all? Okay, so I've got a stack of cards here with a QR code on it. If you've got your phone and you think you might want to eat here, we've got some really good food. It starts at 5:30. You just have to scan this and let them know. Is that clear? I'm not a good communicator. I can leave these on the table back here, and if you'll pick them up on the way out, you can eat. But bring cash, costs money. You can give it to me. No, check, or a check. Okay, no credit card. Sorry.
Okay. All right, very good. It's great food too. All right, so that's at, do we have meals? I believe that's covered everything. Have I missed anything, gang?
Right. If you've already signed up for the meals, you don't have to do the QR code. You're already
Correct.
in the system.
Yep. Okay. What else? Is Sharon?
Sharing.
Oh, yeah. So when you're here, restrooms are right down this hallway to the left. I mean, the hallway on this side, right down there to the left, are restrooms. And there's also restrooms down this other hallway over this way. We're kind of between two sets of restrooms, should that be needed. Yes, Miss Lauren?
Sharing with friends and family about the class.
The what?
We have another week to register, so if they know of anyone.
Oh, yeah. So just a reminder, if you know of anyone that's interested in coming, please have them register this week. So we'll have so I can be in contact with them. I will be sending out an email after this class, and I'll be checking to see that, what, all the information that we have. I'll send out emails. If you don't get an email within the next 24 hours, that means I don't have your email, and sometimes there's some important info that I need to let you all know. Okay? And I'll probably most weeks be sending out an informational email, give you a heads up on things that are going on and what we're doing. Now, time for questions. Yeah.
Whose small group are we in?
Yes.
What's the question?
What small group is he in? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Have we covered everything? Have we answered all your questions on things? Okay. Yes.
Yes, he was. You haven't been.
Not yet. Not yet.
Is it like a team captain situation?
Yeah, it's a draft. And so we laid it all out, and then we go through and yeah. And then some of them we put up on the board and throw darts. Okay. All right, well, that's all that I have. We're getting done just a little bit early. So this is great. So I encourage you to just kind of mingle and get to know people here. Just make sure that we pick up the kiddos by 8 o'clock. I don't want to get in bad with the child care workers because they can get mean. So we don't want to do that. So let's see, Mr. Paul Erickson, why don't you close at a time and pray?
God, we thank you for bringing us here. We come to you as a deeply broken people, and we thank you that your grace and your mercy are sufficient to cover all of our unrighteousness. Thank you that you have led by example. Help us to forgive our spouse. Help us learn tools this year to better communicate, to offer grace, to better understand one another. And we pray that you just prepare our hearts for the semester to come, help us be learners, help us lean in and listen well. Pray you bless us this week, protect us, and bring us back. In your name we pray. Amen.